Will Harris, what's up, bro?
Not much, man. Thanks for letting me be here.
Yeah, dude. So I hadn't seen you it's been a couple weeks to come over there and caught up with you, but you have a new podcast, and that's really what I want to talk about.
Yeah, I do. Something that I've been working on for a year or so, and after you dropped yours here, it really got my ass going, saying, okay, I need to hurry up and do this. And so I appreciate the inspiration.
Oh, yeah, dude. I mean, hey, it's been interesting because we started it. You were on the very first show, actually.
Yep.
We started it, and then we had to make a pivot whenever COVID hit, and I had to do pretty much every single thing virtually, and kind of had no idea what I was doing. And now we're back in the studio. But since then, you've got yours rolling, and how's that going? First off, what made you want to do it?
So my professional career has been very successful just because of the people that I've surrounded myself with and networking and so I've just been very blessed with that. It was motivation to help others, small business owners, startups, which couldn't have come at a perfect timing because of COVID. It shut a lot of people down.
Yeah.
So it was more of an educational purposes, but in a conversational setting to educate people on, financial stability, business, marketing, PR, everything across the board that a startup would need to know that may not have learned in the beginning. It's something to help them understand it now.
Well, I mean, so I love that you're doing that too, because I feel like a lot of people that are doing podcasts, especially business oriented, they're just like, oh, get your ass up and work hard.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or they're telling an entrepreneurial story, but they're not actually. Some people just need their hand held a little bit. You know what I mean? Not a bad way. I'm not saying that's in a negative way, but they just need a little bit of guidance. And so that's something that's great, but you're also getting to meet all different types of people across the board too.
Oh yeah, so my networking has just grown substantially. But to touch on that point, a lot of those business and entrepreneur podcasts, it's get off your ass and do this.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well then how do I do that? And that motivation only goes so far. Then it's the same shit, week to week, every podcast. What I do on mine is I really pick at the issues that they went through. Maybe somebody went through a divorce, or maybe somebody went through a death in the family, or something that killed their motivation with their business.
Yeah.
And I really pick at that point to where they talk about it, and they talk about what got them through it, what advice that they can give for somebody that's gone through it. With a good example, my first guest played for the Kansas City Chiefs. Amazing guy, Eric Warfield, good friend of mine. He made $18,000 a week, and he was broke, living on his best friend's couch.
Yeah,
that's crazy. So now it's not about how much money you make; it's how you manage your money.
Right.
And so he went into depth of talking about what he did. So he obviously learned his lesson and didn't do that anymore.
Yeah.
So
well, I mean, you have a lot of those college and NFL athletes that are NFL athletes mainly, or any of those athletes across the board that are professionals, that you see that a lot.
Oh yeah.
Like they make all that money, and then once their contract's up, they're used to living that lifestyle and literally spending it as soon as it comes in and not putting anything back. And then, man, they're like doing commercials for Arby's and shit. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that, but I'm saying or anything, like a small.
They're basically doing what they can for
exactly.
capital.
Instead of if it were me, knowing what I know, I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to set these things aside and make these things start making money for me, so whenever I'm done, I'm done. You know what I mean? I don't have to work anymore.
Yeah, a lot of them don't do that, and unfortunately, a lot of them don't learn that lesson.
And it's unfortunate. Well, I mean, it's good that you're able to get someone like him on and highlight those things, especially if that person has been through those, as well.
Yeah, experience it teaches volumes when somebody's actually experienced it. And you're listening to them about their actual story. I
mean, it means more, man. Because anyone all day long can say, "Get your ass up, work hard, let's do something." You got to grind. I know you don't want to get up this morning, but you got to go do it. But what incentivizes, or basically what backs up that point? You know, do they have? How are they going to connect with their audience if they are talking to those people?
Yeah, and I tweeted this last week, but the best motivation is sink or swim motivation. Yeah. So
it is, but I mean, everyone's different. Everyone's different. Some people cannot take that aggressive push.
Yeah.
Like I'm aggressive. I'm bad about it, and I'm like, get your ass up. You got to work hard. But some people that shuts them down, and I appreciate that too. And so, like for me, if it's being an outlet and I'm trying to motivate someone, it's probably not going to be. It's not best if they need someone a little more sympathetic. You know what I mean? But it's one of those things that, we move past and everyone learns. But the thing is the fact that if we're all trying to find an outlet to basically help us get to that next goal, whatever it may be.
Nope, I agree 100%. So, and the other thing we push on the podcast too is following your passions and defining your own success. There's so many people that, first off, they think success is financially, and that's bullshit. That's definitely not it.
Yeah.
But it's, if you're able to do what you want to do every day, I mean, life just gets that much better, right?
I agree, man. I told people, I always said I want to make enough money to where I can do whatever I want to do when I want to do it. I've been broke, and I've had enough money to be comfortable. It's not about, having millions and millions. It's literally just figuring out what you want to do, especially if you can find something that makes you money that you enjoy doing.
Exactly.
Because, man, 80% of people don't. 80% of people are out there right now, they hate their job, they hate their spouse, whatever it may be, they're not happy, but they're staying that way because they're afraid of change.
When they're complacent.
Yep. And that's, man, it's just, we have one life, man. I just, it's been a while since I talked about these points, but it is funny. It's because we get in these little ruts and we think, okay, well, I don't want the conflict. But I mean, changing a job, 6 to 8 months of busting your ass and maybe not making ends meet, whatever is worth spending 10 years doing something you hate.
Oh, yeah. And you can make money doing anything.
Yeah, man. There's literally not an excuse today. Prime example, I love the marketplace flippers, man. The people that buy stuff or get stuff for free and they go sell it. Dude, the flip game that's an easy way to make money.
I have a friend. He's been doing this for a long time, he probably don't want me saying his name, so I'm not going to.
Yeah.
But he grades and sells cards.
That is
baseball, football.
That's a good industry.
Do you know how much this son of a bitch made last month? $30,000 doing this. Now again, he's been doing this for 10 years plus, so he knows what he's doing. But this is his pastime. He wakes up and this is what he does, not because he has to, because he is amazing at real estate. He does it because he actually loves it.
Yeah.
And he'll invite us over and we'll sit there and we'll smoke cigars and we'll do it with him and conversational piece and everything else. But this guy thoroughly enjoys it, and that's literally all he would have to do if that's what he wanted to do.
Well, yeah, it's funny too because the card thing, it's like the early 90s baseball cards was a big deal, in the 80s too, really big deal. And then, throughout our childhood, no one really gave a damn about comics or baseball cards. Or remember when Pokemon and all that come out?
Yep.
Dude, those cards are worth hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Just
now.
like magic. Yep.
And I remember I had that shit when I was a kid. If I still had the ones, I see these things going on eBay for literally $200,000. I had that card. I'm like, if I would have had that and kept it, literally, it's insane.
That's like some of the VHSs that were selling crazy on eBay too. Some of the Disney movies.
Oh, dude, I can only imagine. Yeah, because Disney,
especially the ones that are taking off the market now, the Dr. Seuss stuff.
Yeah, and all that, and and then they've recreated so much of those things, and they've acquired Marvel and all those things. It's a powerhouse.
Right.
God, dude, it's insane how that's gone. Well, tell me this though. So you also, there's another thing we had minute conversation about it, but I didn't want to go in depth because I wanted to wait till we got on the show. But the story behind you giving your guests these red shoes and the red shoe thing on the hustle, man. Tell me. I want the in-depth story of why that's how that come to be.
So I grew up in a poor environment. Now that's not a shot at my parents. My parents were hardworking people, and I'll never take that away from them. They did everything they could to give me what they could, and they're the reason I am the way I am today, and I appreciate them for every bit of my being. But with the circumstances of financially, I could not have the name brand stuff that certain people had.
Right.
So the school that I originally went to out in Keyfield, the brands were FUBU and I'm dating myself now, but FUBU and One and Tommy Hilfiger and stuff like that.
Lugs,
so and you could get some of that stuff at Goodwill. You could get some of that stuff in an outlet mall and on sale because the prices for it wasn't as big as they were now.
Right.
And I didn't have Nike. We couldn't afford it. So when I actually got scouted to go play for a soccer team at Captain Shreve, and we're talking about a huge culture shock of how I was, my mannerisms, even my speech and my dress compared to what people at Captain Shreve wore. I had no idea what Hollister or Old Navy or Abercrombie was.
Yeah. And we're talking about, for those who listen and watch, we're talking about North Louisiana too right now. So.
Yeah. So in Shreveport. So I go to Captain Shreve, and the principal even told us, it's like, yeah, the kids here mostly wear this. I'm like, what is this shit? Like, I had no idea what they were talking about, right? And so I show up, freshman year. I'm in like K-Swiss and some blue jean shorts sagging, with an oversized Tommy Hilfiger jersey. Like, that's just who I was. Yeah. And one day I'd saved up enough money, and I had bought some majority red Michael Jordan Dunks. And they're red, white, and black, like the OG style kind.
Right.
They were just replicas from being remade back in the 80s. And I was so proud of them. Like, I thought it was the coolest shoe ever. Everybody in my neighborhood at the time thought they were cool because they wore the same stuff, because I was going out of district. And to this day, this kid, and I'll never mention his name, because obviously, especially now, his life would be, it'd be ruined for what he said.
Yeah.
But on the second floor in front of Professor Mr. Ivy, he taught civics, in front of his class, he came up to me with my shoes on. He goes, if you're going to wear those shoes, you need to go hang out with the rest of a crowd. And he used a very racial slur.
Yeah.
And you would think, like, because majority of my friends were, of a black demographic, and I would have got mad. But I didn't get mad. I got so motivated that it literally implanted what he said in my brain, because I remember what he wore. I remember what I had on. Like, the whole situation just kind of like paused. It was the weirdest thing to me. So I took that as motivation. I didn't get mad. And then from that day on, I literally did my own thing, and I made sure that I dressed different from everybody else, because I didn't want to be that type of person.
Right.
So the red shoes just kind of stuck with me, of like, I'm going to wear these on any day that I'm having a shit day, to where it's going to be my motivation, because it's going to remind me of that story, that I'm going to be better than him as a person, because I'm not going to treat other people that way. And it did. It stuck that way. And that's when my entrepreneur personality came out, and I started doing, businesses. I started a business in college. I started businesses after college, and even up to now, like I have multiple businesses that I was able to start, and they've been successful. So. Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's something that, man, and here in the South too, a lot of people, if you're not in this area, you may not know, but that's something we experienced firsthand. And of course, no, I'm not, I'm not a black male, so I have no idea how you feel, but I did see it being done to these people.
Oh, yeah.
And how we just, it's like we saw it every day, and it's not cool, and the world we're living in now, like, it's just one of those things that, man, we're all different, but we're all together. Like, let's just move past this bullshit. Like, this bullshit closed mind mentality. Let's all work together. Yeah,
and that's our movement on our podcast. Our hashtag We Grow Together. Yeah. It's not just a business related thing. It's it's a race. It's a gender. It's a culture. Hashtag that regardless if you fight it or not, we grow together. So you might as well make it the best that you can, and be successful together, and positive vibes. So.
Yeah, man, I agree. I think it's something that it's drug on for too long.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. It's time to.
It's 2021, man.
Yeah, man. We're way past the early 1900s or even before. It's just one of those things where we gotta work together. We gotta move forward. We're all dealing with there's adversity all the time. We just dealt with the pandemic. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, we all had to deal with that together. And that did not discriminate.
Oh yeah.
It's one of those things. It's the same thing with anything else, but well, let's talk about this real quick too. So, Sin Vodka. It's pretty good, dude.
I told you. I even gambled on the show with Amy Hall, and I asked her on the show without, like, my show is not manufactured at all, just like yours.
Right.
There's no script, there's no practice. It's just straight up. So I asked her on the show. And as I asked her, I said, so what do you think about this vodka? I'm like, man, I might lose a sponsorship. And she was like, this is really good. And we almost killed a bottle.
Well, man, I'm not I was a big vodka drinker for, quite a few years. And then I got to where I really love tequila. But typically, I'm not going to drink vodka straight. But this, and look, they're not paying me anything. This is pretty good shit.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, they're vet owned. They're local. So the guys that own it, one lives, I believe, in Dallas, Fort Worth area.
Okay.
The other one is Trey Moore, lives over here in Shreveport, and the guy in Dallas, Fort Worth, his name's RW. So I don't want to leave him out.
Gotcha.
Both really great people, both really good vets, And I mean, it's just all in all good company, and they're growing rapidly. So.
Well, I mean, it's that's another thing that's interesting, man. I love that companies are getting on board with podcasts now, because I think we're the new movement, and we're the little guys. I mean, come on, let's face it. But it's one of those things. It's like it takes a lot to. Well, we're in a society now to where everyone's fast paced.
Right.
Even the people that may not be doing as much as the average go-getter still is multitasking, because the world is moving at a lot faster pace than it was 50 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
And no one's stopping to watch a commercial on TV. No one's stopping to listen to. They have on-demand music.
Yep.
So like, what's the best avenue for brands to get behind something? If someone's listening to something, roll it in and don't make it a commercial. Just say, hey, man, what's up? This is some good stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So I do appreciate the brands that are getting on board early in the podcast movement, because we're real early in this game. I think 10 years from now, this is going to be huge.
Yeah.
But I think we're real early. But the people that are getting on and doing things like Rain with me, I'm excited as hell about that.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And the same thing with Sin Vodka. I was like, man, I don't even know what liquor I'd want to promote on here, but hey, that's some good stuff.
Yeah. Well, and I dove in with Sin Vodka, and because of my relationship with the guys, because I knew if they had a brand, I trusted them, so I was going to trust their brand.
Right.
And obviously I was correct, because they did really well. So that's, as you said, it's good stuff, and it's a good company, and they definitely back the name. So.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
Well, what do you we hadn't talked about a lot. At the first show, man, it was so raw, man. It was so long ago. I don't even remember exactly what we talked about, but I do know that I want to give some of the people listening and watching some background on you, as far as they know about the podcast now, but how you got into the entrepreneurial world. And you were in the oil and gas industry like I was for a long time, and that's something that, oh man, it's just an interesting industry. There's a lot of people. I've seen a lot of people go into it and do great, and I've seen a lot of people go into it and fail miserably and lose everything they have. And
it's up and down. And I look at the oil and gas industry as like a celebrity or a sports athlete industry, because that money can be taken away from you the very next day.
Exactly.
And when the Haynesville shale was huge, a lot of people unfortunately didn't understand money management, and they're buying $30,000 razors and $80,000 jacked up trucks and all this stuff. And then after the Haynesville shale, it tanked. They had all this stuff with all this expenditures and stuff coming in, and they had no money coming in to pay for it. And a lot of them went bankrupt. A lot of them had stuff repossessed. It was just not a good situation. So, and unfortunately, they just didn't know. They didn't know any better. They thought that money was always going to be there, and that's never the case.
Well, no, it's an interesting industry. It's like that. Not only in that one area, but everywhere. It's supply and demand.
Yep.
And it's not controlled by us.
Yep.
So it's like, if you're going to get on board and take advantage of that, great pay and never be off. I remember working 30, 40-hour jobs straight all the time. But I was also making money, so I wasn't complaining about it. But you got to be ready for that day whenever everyone gets laid off.
Yep, because it's coming.
It's a matter of time. It's inevitable. It's just like here's a great reference. It's like, we have automated cars. They're coming out now.
Yeah.
Don't you think 18-wheeler drivers are not going to have a job in 10 years?
Yeah, it's
and
possible.
Then they're going to cry about it in 10 years. Do something. You know it's coming. Like, you know what you're signing up for. And if you don't, all you have to do is look around you. It's not like someone tricked you into it. Like, hey, I'm tricking you into getting this industry. You're going to do really well, but they don't tell you about the bad times. All you got to do is look around, man. Look at history. Yeah. Look at every 10 years, it's a boom, and there's a slump.
And as a business owner, you have to prep for the worst. You have to, and you have to be creative with each aspect of your business. What could happen, and what can replace me or replace my business? And a good example of that is, I saw an investment ad. There is a company that built basically assembly line for fast food restaurants that will cook the burger, cook the fries, flip it, package it, add condiments, everything by itself.
Yeah.
Like, no workers. You go up to a kiosk, you do the kiosk, the robot, does all the burgers and stuff, and we're talking about one system was like, I think, don't quote me on this, but I want to say it was around $10,000.
What?
Your ROI of that is less than a year.
Yeah.
So,
well, the thing is like, it's far-fetched to think about, but you have to think about what
but
are all these
here.
It's been here. Think about all the automated systems that are packaging things, manufacturing meat, doing cutting things, separating and all that. Like the technology's there. Someone just finally put it into play to be efficient. Yeah. And it's one of those things. It's like technology does not discriminate.
No,
it doesn't care. Like we're moving forward. We're a race that always is moving forward. As a human race, we're always building things. We're always trying to get better, cooler things, faster cars, or more efficient energy, or whatever it may be. You got to get on board. You can sit around and cry about it if you want to, but it doesn't care. It's going to keep moving past you, so you might as well get on board a little bit, and figure out a way.
Right. And as an employee, you have to make yourself valuable and understand two of the important things to a CEO that they're going to be looking at every day to try to increase, and that may be replacing you, and that's time and the bottom line.
Yep.
And if they can increase that bottom line and save time, they're going to do it.
I mean, it's just once you get to that size of a business, it just is what it is.
Oh, you have to.
Yeah, I mean, you literally have to, and then everyone wants to criticize that person, but you've grown it that big, and then you're not a one person owning a company, less than 50 people. You're in a corporation now that has a board that everything has to be strategic, and it's just, I'm glad I'm out of that industry, bro. I'm glad I'm you know what I mean? Look, for everyone that is still in that, I feel for you, but if you're not happy, figure out a way out, because it's just one of those things, man. When you do not control what's going on in your life financially, it's frustrating.
It is. It's hard because that's where your stress comes in, because you're not the sole reason of your paycheck.
Exactly.
So you don't control it.
Well, I tell a lot of people too all the time, like, don't stress about things you can't control. But that's a great example is you can't control any of that.
But you're going to stress over that because that's your livelihood.
Exactly. So I don't know, man. I'm always about the movement of trying to get out and do your own thing, man. Anyone can be their own force of nature, and entrepreneur. I hate that word. It's a good word, but I hate that it's been used up so much in the past 5 years.
Yeah.
Where people just throw it out there like
it's in their bio.
Right.
It looks
exactly. Cool. CEO and entrepreneur. Like I don't like that word, but at the end of the day, if you're going to be one, really be one. Yeah. You know what I mean?
How if somebody is lying about, like if they're serious about being an entrepreneur?
Yeah. No, tell me.
If you ask them, how is it being an entrepreneur, and they say it's the greatest thing in the world, then they're lying.
Yeah, I mean, look, man.
You have your ups and downs.
Of course, man. Anything in life, it facilitates the business and anything across the board. Like you're gonna have trials and tribulations.
Oh yeah.
But that makes you better.
Exactly.
If you don't have those, then you literally cannot get better.
You don't learn.
You don't exactly. You don't know how to. Okay, I'm doing business operation this way, and I hire X amount of employees, and say you just throw them in the fire.
Yeah.
Not proper training, no proper time, not teaching time management, not teaching, whatever set skills you need, whatever, it's gonna fail.
Yep.
But you have to know, you have to have a plan laid out, you have to figure out, but you have to figure out how to operate. But in the meantime, you don't know until you fail.
Yep.
You know what I mean? You're gonna have to do things and figure out this doesn't work before you can make this work better, more efficient, whatever it may be.
100%. And the other thing is too, like, you can't have a complacent business anymore.
No, there's no way.
You'll get swallowed.
What's that old saying? We've always done it this way.
Yeah, you can't. You will lose.
Well, that used to be like a cliche meme.
People still say
like
that.
A sign. Remember, it was a sign before it was a meme.
Yeah.
They do say it, but they're slowly phasing out. But 10 years ago, everyone said it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they should have quit then. It's just like you can't.
The other thing too, the other saying too that'll get you in trouble that I still hear, and it's really popular in oil and gas.
Oh man, I'm ready for this one.
It is what it is.
Oh, yep. That doesn't work anymore.
No,
that doesn't work anymore.
Yeah, it's not is what it is.
Another one is that'll work for now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So as a business owner, you cannot be complacent. You always have to be growing and being innovative for sure.
Yeah, I agree. I think another thing, man, I didn't mean to go on a business tangent, but whatever, we will for a minute. I think another thing is like worrying about competition. Like everyone's different, man. Like I tell people this in the in the marketing industry. I'm like, look, say here's a plumber. Oh, are you working for this plumber? You can't work for me. I'm like, dude, you're two totally different businesses.
Exactly.
I'm pushing your culture. I'm not pushing your work ethic. That's up to you to figure out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I mean, it's just like you can't work on someone else's house because
Yeah.
you only work on one person. It's the same thing. But people like in business, they they set those things up, and it's just an old school mentality, man.
Yeah, it is.
I think it's because as you grow, there's just more and more of the same type of industries,
Right.
But 100 years ago, they were limited, so people see someone who comes in as a threat because they may have worked their whole entire life to build a business that's successful, and then someone comes in and they immediately see them as competition. But it's I use this example for a lot too. Real estate's a prime example.
Oh, yeah.
These real estate agents are cutthroat, talking shit about each other 24/7. But if they realize they stop and work together, they could actually flourish.
Right.
Like there's enough to go around.
Oh yeah. Especially now because the market's hot.
Yeah. Well, not only that, but man, and let's take a turn and go back to like the real world stuff, because I mean, what you're doing and what we do here and just having conversation, I feel like is what we need to continue to do to resolve issues, man. I think that we have as a society have gotten so separated. We're close. We have access. Everyone has access to each other.
Yeah.
But yet we're so far apart.
I think the biggest thing is just being so. Assumptions is the worst thing ever.
Yeah.
I hate assumptions.
Yeah.
I have an amazing lady that does all my PR for my podcast, and I'm going to call her out on this. And her name is DK, and she will assume with me.
Yeah.
It pisses me off. and she's good at it. Like she's trying to be ahead of the game and stuff, and she jokes with me about assumptions and stuff. But yeah, it just pisses me off because assumptions, and this is a cliche term too, but the first three letters of assumption is ass, and don't make an ass out of yourself.
Yeah.
And a lot of people just assume the worst of the worst on people, and they judge them just by something that they may have said or an action, and instead of taking that time to communicate with them and clarify what's really going through your mind, it's like, oh, I'm gonna go ahead and categorize you as this bad person, and then we're gonna have this hate towards each other, which is the worst thing that you could possibly do.
Right. Well, that's just like, I completely agree, and that's why doing what we're doing right here is so important, because you're taking time to sit down and actually have a conversation.
Yeah.
Okay. You're not taking a 1 minute sound bite and then turning it into a story.
Oh yeah. No.
If you were to take 1 minute out of any of my podcasts, you could create something negative out of it.
Oh yeah, that's media.
Yeah. But like, so we're in the battle with them now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's just, I understand marketing, I understand media, I understand how it works. It's attention. Mm-hmm. People love negative. Negative breeds more attention, more shares, more likes, more people commenting, more talking shit, more, oh my God, did you see this? Oh my God, did you hear that? Yeah. Can you believe what so-and-so did? And man, I'm for the other side. We're like, let's just push the positive.
Yeah.
And those things don't get as much attention, unfortunately.
And I've joined Clubhouse, and if you're not on Clubhouse, I highly recommend it.
Clubhouse.
That is an amazing app.
Yeah.
And just a quick thing is, Clubhouse is mostly a business associated app. You have to be invited to get on it. You can't just get on it. So, and then it's strictly chat rooms and business, and it's live voice, and it's really good for networking. But so I was on Clubhouse, and we were talking about poor journalism and media, and the point that I brought up that really grabbed a lot of people's attention is people forget that a lot of media companies, you forget they're a business.
Yeah.
So the way they make money is ratings. Mm-hmm. If they told a good story every time, they're not going to have good ratings. So they have to spice it up, and people tend to forget that, and then they go off completely what they say and think, oh, that's the truth, that's it. Just like they do on Facebook.
Yeah.
You have a friend that posts something or reshares something without fully reading it, and then you're like, oh, that's just like it's not so bad anymore. But you used to see a lot of people like hoax on people that died.
Yeah.
People would share it and be like, oh my God, so and so died, rest in peace. And
it would get hundreds of thousands of views before someone fact checked it and realized no, it was a lie.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like nobody would fact check it. They just automatically shared it and didn't do the research because either they had faith in the person that shared it, or they were just lazy. Yeah. So
well, isn't it funny too that we are now programmed because of that? We are programmed to fact check things.
Yeah.
I think we are a little more than we were, 5 years ago.
Well, yeah, because I got friends that Google shit on me now.
Yeah.
I'll say something and they'll pull out their phone and be like, are you really Googling me? They're like, yeah. I said, okay.
Yeah. It's one of those things. It's like you can't believe it. So, but we do have an outlet, and it's just like Google and these other big outlets. Like, what app do you use to search with?
Who, me? Yeah. I use Google.
Okay, well, I use DuckDuckGo.
Okay.
So basically, only because it's not a biased search engine, and you should check it out. And anyone who doesn't want to, whatever, it's no big deal. It's not anything political or anything like that. It's a preference. But you'll look up stories that you'll try to find, and if it's connected to something that may have had some negative clout or some, back and forth about, you won't find that there at the top of the story search. You may have to dive 2 or 3 pages deep in Google. But if you look at DuckDuckGo, typically it'll come up quicker because it's not controlled by people that have agendas.
No.
So it's a very interesting. That's what I like about Clubhouse too. Clubhouse it's pure accountability, man.
It is. Yeah.
It's pure accountability.
Yeah, because
you can't hide behind a fake fucking profile or
nothing.
No.
And you got 20, 30 people in a room.
Yeah.
And I promise you, they're writing down what you're saying, and they're taking it, and they're like, and that's where that's where credibility comes in. That's one of the main things that you actually own is your credibility. And on Clubhouse, you can really piss that away if you say some stuff that's not true.
Right.
So it's important.
But not only that, there's a voice to it.
Yeah.
Just like what we're doing here, there's a voice to it. They know where it's coming from.
Oh yeah.
There's no mask,
no, it's your
account
voice
with a bullshit profile image.
It's like a huge conference call.
Bullshit on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a huge conference call with multiple people around their country, and you're collaborating and you're discussing, and you're building a name for yourself and you're networking. But all in all, like if you use it for the right reasons, it's a great app.
Yeah.
So,
well, tell me this: what's your plans for your podcast, bro? First off, I just want to say congratulations and cheers. I appreciate the good vodka, and I didn't think you or I would be sitting here talking about these things, a year and a half later from me starting one, then you said you were going to start one, and then how much all of this has grown, man. And I never thought people would give a shit what I said.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's not even that. It's not even about me. It's like it's about having guests like you and people that have something important to talk about, and also like your guests. So, man, what's the plan?
Man, we're growing, and we've grown substantially. We've actually only done 3 episodes. Our 4th episode is this Friday. The outreach that we have gained so far, and I have an amazing team. I have a good friend first, photographer second, but Q, the photographer that just does amazing work, takes all our pictures and stuff. And then, like I've already brought up DK with her PR and her networking. I'm truly blessed to have those people in my life that have really entertained the idea of what I'm doing, but actually, and also believe in it, and outreach their friends and everything to just grow the following. The plan was, or the plan is now, not only from a podcast standpoint, but the Hustle is going to be a full software suite brand as well, to help businesses grow with other services such as CRMs and such like that. But again, with the outreach and everything, on the 3rd episode, we're listed in 13 countries.
Yeah.
So it's been a true blessing. And I can tell you, and I know you can relate to this, but when you get those DMs or you get those comments on a photo that say, thank you for what you've done. Yeah. My business is thriving because I've listened to you, or like, hey, I've gained hope, whatever they've said on those, that's pure motivation there to just keep it up. Like, I can't even explain the feelings really you get.
No,
man.
I completely agree. It really is, because I wouldn't still be doing this had I not got that affirmation. People walking up to me like, hey man, I love it. I'm like, dude, I'm okay, I think I'm gonna keep doing it. But maybe I need it. I probably would have kept doing it, but I wouldn't have got as fired up about it.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, it wouldn't have made me go like, oh shit, I gotta make sure I find, I gotta find this guest I'm looking for, and this, and start looking into these things really heavy, and I gotta figure out better about my production and my delivery and my outlets and how I'm gonna market this stuff. I wouldn't have cared as much, and a fire wouldn't have lit under my ass had someone not come to me and gave me that affirmation.
Yeah, and I've been blessed to have an amazing support group, with the podcast, because it is a niche. Like, it's not like a wide range of audience.
Yeah.
It's business owners, or people that want to be business owners, or people that just need motivation. So
Yeah, that's still a big ass audience.
Yeah, well, it's not the Joe Rogan aspect where anybody will listen to it because Elon Musk is on, you know. So,
then again, the thing with Joe Rogan, he did it for 15 years.
Yeah,
you know, it took 15 years to get there.
Yeah,
you know, what I mean, it's not like so. It turned into, I think it was, if you listen to his stories, he'll talk about that. He's like, I started and it was just a reason for my friends, me to get high together and talk shit.
Yeah.
And then people started taking me seriously. And so it motivated me to get more people on, you know?
Oh, yeah. And this was, and again, this was, you know, this didn't happen overnight. Like, yeah, I've only had 4 episodes and gained the outreach and the downloads that we have. But, you know, this was 2 years of planning.
Yeah.
And, you know, and then COVID hit. And then I took advantage of COVID. And that was really because I had to work from home. We didn't have a lot of work going on because, you know, oil and gas was kind of shut down because people weren't having meetings and being in sales. You know, there's a lot of Zoom stuff. So my extra time was really planned on building businesses, working on this podcast, and doing stuff outside of what I was doing, just in case this was going to happen, which has. So I took full advantage of that when I'm glad I did. And again, with my support group, you know, friends like you, you know, my wife, and everybody back in, you know, DFW that I've met, you know, it's just been a true blessing to grow it, how fast it's grown.
Yeah, man, it's I'm excited, dude. I'm excited for you. I'm excited for what all we're going to be able to do. I hope I hope I can, you know, give you any kind of motivation or any kind of, you know, advice that all the bullshit I've been through over here, or any kind of, you know, anything, any feedback, and I hope that you can give me some too, man. I think we can work with each other and grow these things, and you know, you're doing something a little different than I am, so I think we can work back and forth and help each other.
Yeah, for sure, and it's crazy because so my second guest, the international woodworker that did work for you know, Hilton and Ritz-Carlton and stuff. He believed in me so much, and this is, you know, part of that motivation part. He's moving into a bigger showroom, and he don't care if I say his name, but his name's Doc Wright. You can check him out on his Instagram, The Wright's Edge, and he's building me a studio in his showroom.
Hell yeah, dude!
And because he believes in what I'm doing and the outreach and the help that I'm doing, and you know, again, I can't show appreciation enough to the people that backed me and done everything. So
yeah, dude, and. It's very interesting because on the advert side of that is, dude, there's a lot of hate too, man.
Oh,
there's a lot of hate, bro.
The messages I get are bad.
There's a lot of hate, man. It's like, I agree with you, and I literally have the same mentality about what you're doing, what I'm doing. It's fluent. I know what's up. I completely agree. But man, there's some people out there, and a lot of people, being that we're on a platform now, like we're talking as pure accountability. If I'm sitting here saying something, you're saying something, you got to back that shit up.
Yep.
Most people will talk shit, but you'll hear it third party. You know what I'm saying?
Or behind a fake profile.
Exactly. I'm like, dude, like my thing is, we'll never be able to get rid of that stuff, but. Dude, that only makes me want to prove you fucking wrong.
Yeah. It's well.
Please talk shit.
Yeah, and I tell people that all the time. That, you know, if people run their mouth and they talk shit about you or your business or whatever you're doing, man, that's free motivation.
Yeah, it really is, dude.
It's fuel for.
I didn't have to pay for that.
Yeah, it's fuel for your fire, and I've gotten, you know, my Instagram has grown substantially over the past 3 months in doing this, and man, the DMs that I get. I read them, and you're not supposed to really read them.
Man,
but I do it anyway, and I look at it from a positive aspect. I'm like, well, if I have some people that are hating on me, then I'm doing something right.
Yeah, I had one. I had one earlier today. There was a comment for. I had astronaut Abby on. She's amazing. I don't know if you saw that episode. She's brilliant. She's and works. She's a scientist at Harvard. She's got, you know, abundance of degrees. She's training to be an astronaut.
I saw that episode.
Yeah, so someone got on there and said something about this is pure Satanism or something, talking about. I'm like, dude, it's hilarious to me. I love it. Like, why even say anything, man?
Yeah.
Just shut up and move on. But like, people feel bad. They need to feel relevant, and I guess since they don't know how to give any positive feedback or just move along, they throw the negative out there, man, just to get some, you know, some kind of attention.
Social media can be, you know, two of one thing, you know, two of something, and that's, you know, it could be the best thing, or it could be the worst thing. It depends on the maturity of how you use it.
Yeah, I agree. But so it's funny because social media is just our outlet we're using right now.
Yeah.
Haven't we always been dealing with these things? Like, look at high school. High school's a prime example, and it's so weird because a lot of people live vicariously through their high school selves.
Yeah.
But like now, I'm just bringing it up as like there's a mix of a lot of people. Usually, multiple schools come together to create a high school, and these people who have never been around each other are now around each other, and it's a melting pot. And a lot of times there's different ideologies. There's a lot of hate. There's a lot of bullying.
Oh, yeah.
And we deal with it now on social media.
Yeah.
But it's just the internet connecting us all. You know, it's a good thing, just like you said, but it's a bad thing. But you have to realize that those people don't know you.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, I don't give a shit. Like, let me rephrase that. I don't give a shit about people who don't know me in the aspect of that they're trying to be negative. But if you're on the same mission as I am, trying to get good information out there, valuable, positive, whatever it may be, just good, valuable information, like, then cool.
Yeah,
we're a team.
Then it matters. Yep.
So it's just interesting how that unfolds. Look, I got something else. So we are drinking vodka. Is there a rule about drinking vodka before whiskey?
No, it's just beer and liquor.
Beer and liquor.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, look. So you do like your vodka, but I also know you like your whiskey. I got some Buffalo Trace. You ever had any?
Nope, but we're about to.
This is one of the oldest whiskeys. It was here before the United States was even formed, basically. So like it's pretty old. After we finish, you're already ahead of me, bro.
I'm way ahead of you.
You're trained. You've had a few episodes of drinking this every episode. I'm way behind you.
Hey, man, bottle episode.
Whew.
I can tell you right now, me and Doc, because Doc worked in the oil and gas industry too, and he started, his wood business. And
did he?
Yeah,
dude, I gotta.
Yeah, dude.
All right, so I apologize. I've not listened to that episode yet, but I have to.
You have to listen to that episode.
I love having these conversations with people who've been in that field.
So, because of my situation, I can say this now. Doc was working for Pioneer, and some stuff happened, and he didn't like it.
Gas or a drilling company?
Gas.
Okay, gotcha.
And in geology.
Gotcha. Okay.
So he didn't like what was told to him because he had some ideas and stuff and some great ideas, and he was pretty much shut down. So he was like, you know what, I'm gonna do my own thing, and he had a passion for what he did, and he was really good at it, and it obviously took some work, but it took off, and he left a very high position over there, and now he has his own business, and he's a great guy, great friend, and I'm proud of him.
Dude, I love that because I feel like that industry and a lot of other corporate worlds are tainted with a lot of people. You have multiple layers of command.
Yeah.
And what happens is no one wants to take the blame for anything or take, any kind of accountability or any action because they're just trying to put it off on someone else. And what happens then, it just kind of all floods down to the end user basically, and they catch all the shit.
Well, the other thing too, and this is not, and I'll echo this is not just about oil and gas. This is corporate world, period. Yeah. You don't know, when you have multiple levels of management, you don't know who is benefiting from using a certain person or a certain third party or anything like that. So when you come up with an idea that may take away from that and you get shut down, that's when that motivation just gets killed.
Well, and that's the thing is there's no way to battle that. Like, how do you battle that? Because you can't. Like, and so
because you don't even know it exists.
Maybe you want to do something more efficient, but then it fucks up somebody's money under the table.
Yep.
It's something
and it happens all the time.
Well, it has happened. It's happened for hundreds of years, man. I mean, look at the mafia.
Yeah.
I mean, literally. I mean, if you have those things going on in motion, and someone's always benefiting from something, then if all parties at the top level are benefiting, they're not going to let anyone at the bottom make any adjustments.
No, not at all.
And that's something that you have to be in a corporate structure to understand these things. And if you haven't seen it yet, then God bless you.
Yeah.
But if I feel like you're still going to one day. It's kind of like the motorcycle rider. They say there's two types of people that ride motorcycles. One that's wrecked and one that's going to.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things.
It's a matter of time.
It's just one of those things with that structure. Like there's not enough accountability, and there's not enough people sitting down and trying to really what's best for everyone. That's why I always say employees first, client second, me last.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think if you leave with that mentality, dude, you're moving forward somewhere.
I think so too. Yep.
I think it's something that we've had to we're learning. We're young, man. You know, if you think about it, we're young, but we're learning.
I'll be 35 on the 18th.
You're older than me.
Yeah. Well, thanks a lot for that, asshole.
Oh man.
So random deal, and yes, this is a little bit of advertisement for myself, but I have a coffee company that's actually coming out with an espresso for me.
No shit.
Called The Hustle. Yeah.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
Yeah. So we were talking, and I'm a smart ass, and the company is Flipping Coffee, and it's Fed-owned coffee company out of Richardson, Texas, and we became friends through Doc actually, and he's like, man, I need to come up with an espresso. And I just like threw it out there. I said, you should come up with an espresso called The Hustle.
Yeah.
And he was like, actually, I like that. So that's how it kind of took part, man.
I have no, like, that's another thing, man. People always, someone's going to say some shit about that. They're going to be like,
oh, yeah.
Oh, of course she's got something else. What, like, dude, look, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it, man, because everyone's in it. You're all in it together.
Yeah. Well, the opportunity's there for anybody.
Right.
Yeah. It's just if you take it or not.
Yeah, dude. I mean, it's just, I feel like we're constantly fighting that battle. All I know is I want to be the Braveheart at the front saying, hey, let's,
yeah, exactly. And
let's work together.
Yeah, and the key to this, and this is where like you say you work together, or like my hashtag, we grow together. This is how you know that you're supposed to be doing that kind of stuff. Networking is number one for any business.
It is.
So like, networking is building relationships, it's friendships, it's all that. So like, if you have hate in your heart and you're just negative all the time, man, you're going to fail. It's just inevitable.
And look, man, I have sympathy for those type of people. I don't have sympathy for people who have means and just refuse to accept input.
Yeah.
But I do have sympathy for people who don't know any better because of how they were molded.
Yeah.
Whether it be something they went through, say it's something they went through in war, or something they went through as a child, or something they went through in a marriage, or something they went through in a past business. I have sympathy for those people because they don't know any better, because that's all they've
Exactly.
Those are the only cards they have been dealt. So until you have someone that's going to sit down and deal them a new deck of cards and say, look, this opportunity is over here on the other side, you just have to be bold enough to make that move.
Yeah, and that's where judgment comes into place, to where you just don't need to do it, because you don't know what anybody's been through.
No,
you have no idea.
You really don't, man.
And I got criticized one time. And this is a little side story, but I got criticized one time because I gave homeless people money. It's just something I do.
Okay.
I gave them $1 at least, and somebody criticized me. He's like, "Why'd you give him $1? He's just going to buy beer. Well, you should have bought him food." And my ideology of that is, if that $1 buys him a beer and makes his day happy, then I'm happy, because it only took me $1 to change somebody else's life for a day.
Yeah.
And I don't know what their situation is or what they're going through on a day. I'm here to tell you, if I was homeless and I was panhandling, I'd probably get drunk every day too, just to pass the time, so that's just my thought process on that. But there's no judgment there, because I don't know, I haven't walked in his shoes. I don't know what he's been through. I don't know what he's done. And I take that same thought process, and I spread that across anybody and everybody that I meet that do stuff different that I would do. I don't judge them for it, because I think, okay, there's a reason they do that, and I try to understand it, and that's how I build that relationship.
Well, I mean, it is very interesting you said that, and it's a good point, because a lot of people say, you see that person, they're just sitting there they probably make more money than I do a year. Yeah, they may, but I mean, look, it's your prerogative how you want to support someone and help someone.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Whether it be giving them advice, giving them money, give them, some place to stay, a job recommendation, however you want to help someone. Everyone needs some help at some point in their life.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's just they need some words, they need to have some conversation, they need some money, whatever it may be. I just think that at the end of the day, it boils down to most people, if they're going to criticize, hate, talk shit, or anything, it's because there's a deeper inlying issue.
Oh, yeah.
But that's talked about a lot, right? Everyone says that, and they know that. It's just like diet and exercise. It's a great point, because we didn't even talk about that yet. Yeah. You're in shape. You've done competitions. I've been training for years. We both have this in common. We were doing garage workouts during the pandemic.
Exactly. Yep. It looked like a prison yard in my front yard.
Hell yeah, it did, dude. We made it work. But like, it's something to be said about that, because those things are. There's no blueprint, but like, just like if you say people have the tools and they know, like, eat right, exercise. That is the solution.
Yeah.
But then they still choose to do the advert.
Oh, yeah. Because it's easy.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Well, but just so is eating right and exercising if you make it part of your day.
Right.
You know, it's very easy to eat ding dongs and sit around and flip the TV because you are comfortable doing that. If you're comfortable exercising and eating right, you'll do it too. It's not hard. It just takes effort. You know what I mean?
FYI, I send vodka and whiskey in my macros, so nobody judge me.
Yeah, man, I don't even know what the macros are on the Buffalo Trace, but I had this bottle and I was like, well, I know he likes bourbon too.
Oh, yeah.
I had a feeling you may bring some vodka. I said, shit, I got to drink vodka and I'm going to drink whiskey today too. I'm a tequila man and he's got me drinking everything.
Yeah, it's interesting if people would just open their mind and be less judgmental. I think things would be a lot smoother.
Yeah,
a lot smoother.
I think we're past the days of so and so's talking shit, so I'm gonna whoop their ass. You know, I think we're
now
past
it's
that.
so and so's talking shit, and you might get shot.
Right. Well, that too. Either thing. You know, retaliation. Like the thing is like, man, there's always gonna be someone who's unhappy. And you just got to deal with it.
Yeah.
You know, like if I can be a positive form of any kind of energy for somebody, I hope. But but if you're going to be negative, that's fine. I'm not even going to entertain or get mad anymore.
Yeah,
just push you aside and keep moving forward.
Yeah, and that's what you have to do. You have to, if somebody's set in their ways to be negative and talk bad about people around you and stuff, you really have to. You just have to get away from them and push them to the side because they're not going to do you any favors.
Yeah.
Because chances are they're probably talking about you when they're not around you.
Of course.
Yeah.
But I mean, someone said this a long time ago and I laughed, but I guess I don't know if it comes with age or experience. But they're like, excuse me. They're like, I feel sorry for that person who takes that time out of their day to literally exert their energy on someone else negatively.
Yeah.
I feel that way now. Like I can agree with those people's like thought process whenever I heard that years ago. I don't remember when it was, but I agree now. Like if you take the time out to literally put your energy and say, hey, fuck that person, fuck that, they aren't doing anything, whatever, like I can't stand them, blah blah blah, so and so thinks she looks good with that new hair, whatever it may be, you know what I mean? Like I feel bad for you now, man, because you don't have anything good enough, like anything else good enough to worry about, that you're literally going to take your time to do that.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. And the enjoyment I get out of success is I'm at a point now where I'm successful enough to where I don't have to stress about my well-being. I can help others.
What's your definition of success now that you've been through the ringer and all the industries and doing what you're doing now?
My definition of success is I'm at a point where I can do what I want when I want, but help others succeed as well without asking for anything in return.
Yeah. So it's a selfless expression.
100%.
And I've learned that, dude. I've learned that in the past 5 years of my life.
Yeah.
Literally. Before that, I was a complete asshole. If anyone's listening or watching, you knew me 10 years ago, you're like, that dude's a douchebag, whatever. You're probably right. I probably was. I don't know what happened. A switch flipped, and we're here now. I'm trying to do good things.
I can proudly say that there are 12 people that I've consulted for business-wise and helped their business thrive. One of them being a $1 million business a year, and I haven't taken a single penny.
That's great.
And that's what's exciting me when they called me. It's like, hey, I had this huge deal. I made $50,000 on the sale, or I made $500 sale. It doesn't matter on the money value. It's just that they were excited because they were able to do business, and they have a business that now supports their family, and they're excited about it, and they're doing what they love.
Isn't it funny though? You saying that brought up something else. I love that. But the people that they do a little bit of good and they try to go sell their advice to someone and they haven't been through it yet.
Yeah.
They're literally trying to make money off of their own, their own work, but at the same time, like, they haven't done it yet. So, like, they haven't been through the ringer, but they want to be a coach.
You want to know a good example of that?
Yes, please tell me.
These damn stock traders on Instagram that message you.
I can't. Yeah, I can't. No,
I get so many comments on that shit. Hey, come trade Forex with so and so, and I'm like, bro.
Look, the one thing that gets me every day, I try not to be gotten, is LinkedIn requests.
Oh God.
There's a ghost in the room.
Yeah.
Look, the mic just moved by itself.
I got excited.
Hell yeah. So, the LinkedIn requests that have a message attached to them trying to sell me something.
Yeah.
I absolutely cannot stand it, and it literally ruins my day for 1 minute.
I get a lot of entrepreneurial requests like, "Hey, be an entrepreneur and own a franchise." I'm like,
oh, wait you start getting these podcast requests. Have you got them yet? Oh, dude, man. Let me the best ones are like, let me pick your guests for you. Let me teach you how to grow let me teach you how to monetize your podcast. I'm like, look, man, I admire your hustle, but I don't, at the same time, I don't respect you because you didn't even try to build a relationship with me before you tried to call to action me.
so I got one worse for you. Okay, this one's good. I've had two people reach out to me. Two people reached out to me on LinkedIn saying, "Hey, I help CEOs get the body they want."
What the
Yeah, he's like, you have a busy lifestyle.
I appreciate the angle.
Yeah, he's like, you have a busy lifestyle. Let me help you with a diet plan and a workout plan. And you know what I do? I send them pictures of my last competition.
Yeah, I had a really big guest. Most of my larger known like broadcasted guests are probably Zoom, especially during the past few months. Yeah. And they messaged me and they were like, I enjoyed your episode, and it was like copy and paste. Yeah. Insert name, and then go on and go, so on and so forth, and say whatever. And I was like, man, I really don't want to respond to this, but I'm going to. So I said, okay. I said, please. I said, just for your feedback, I appreciate you and thank you. I said, can you tell me exactly what points motivated you with this specific podcast and what we talked about?
Right.
Ghost.
Yeah.
Cricket.
Nothing.
Crickets, bro. Nothing. Like, I get it, but look, man, take the time. If you're gonna copy and paste, like, just don't copy and paste it, man.
That's just poor sales etiquette.
Well, but not even that. Like, that's how sales used to be. The old ad man world, you know what I mean? Mad Men. But at the end of the day, it's like, we appreciate interaction. We appreciate doing business with people we like, know, and trust. And in order to have that relationship, you have to develop one.
Yeah.
You have to spend the time to figure out who are you talking to. Don't tell me you like my show if you don't even know what it's about.
Oh, yeah.
Just like I'm sure you're getting these. If you're not, you're going to.
Oh, yeah.
The request that says, hey, man, I'd love to be on your show. Can you have me on your show sometime?
I get them already.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And they have never even listened to it. They just want to gain something from it.
Yep.
I'm like, dude, what the fuck?
Well, I had one guy ask me to be on my show, and my guests are going to be either CEOs or entrepreneurs.
Right.
Period.
Okay.
Because they're the ones that have the experience that can teach others.
Right.
And I'm not taking a shot at this guy, but this guy was just a salesman.
Yeah.
And I was just a salesman. So like, there again, I'm not taking a shot at anybody.
You understand the hustle.
Yeah, I understand the hustle, but my podcast is not for that. It's not to teach just sales.
Right.
And I was like, man, dude, have you even listened to my podcast? Did you even read the bio on iTunes and Spotify of what this podcast is about?
They don't. They see this person has some attention. Let me see if I can leverage the relationship with that person. Yeah. And then, man, but it happens to us in all shapes and sizes and forms in life. It really does, man.
It does.
It does. And it's one thing that, like, I am constantly battling that thing. So, like, if we can beat it, let's beat it together.
Oh yeah. So the guy that said that to me in high school.
Yeah.
10 years after that, he actually reached out on my Facebook looking for a job.
I bet he didn't get one either.
No, he didn't get one. But I was professional about it. I was like, no, we're not hiring.
Well, see, that's another thing I appreciate too.
Yeah.
Is, man, everyone can change. Mm-hmm. I was a different person 5 years ago, and I was also a different person 5 years prior to that. Yeah. And 5 years prior to that. I'm a firm believer in every 5 years you change quite a bit.
Yeah, because I knew you probably 15 years ago.
Yeah, we don't bring that up. But
hashtag I know Tim Huck.
Shit. Hashtag oh yeah, just yeah. Anyways, that's back partying days, and I was always looking for a fighter female.
Majority of us.
I can be completely honest.
Majority of us
for a fighter female.
Majority of us were there, man.
Yeah. But like it's funny because we all can change, so you can't hold that against someone. But at the same time, I do not think it's bad to at least bring it up.
No.
Mention it.
No.
You know what I mean? Talk about it. Figure out. And that's another issue. Is like a lot of people. I come from a very small town. A lot of those people are doing the same thing they were doing 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Only because they're not comfortable stepping out and trying to figure out if they want to do more.
Oh, exactly.
I don't criticize them or ridicule them for doing that, but those same type of people ridicule me for not being in that small area anymore and not being involved. Like, but dude, I want more.
Yeah, yeah.
And more is just My definition of I want to do more things, I want to learn, meet more people, I want to have more conversation, I want to go more places. If you're okay with sitting in that little area and not doing any of those things, that's fine, but don't criticize me for it. I'm not going to criticize you for that.
Yeah, and I already see that even with the podcast, because I've asked certain people to be on, and then they saw the guests I had on, and now they're reaching out to me saying, "Hey, yeah, I'll do it now." I'm like, bro, no, yeah, it ain't happening now.
Yeah,
and it's because now they're trying to just, like you said, leverage it for their own well-being.
And like I said, I understand. Plug the hustle. I get it. You know what I mean? But we're past that. We're past that point in our life.
Yeah.
We've already went through that thing, and like that's that every man for themselves tactic, and that don't work, man. That don't work for anyone. It works. It's very lucrative temporarily. Mm-hmm. Very. It's just like any other, anything. Like,
you'll shoot yourself in the foot too.
Exactly. I mean, it's just like starting a business up and then taking all the shortcuts and getting all those quick fix, things to make money real quick and do all these things, and then it crashes and burns in 2 years.
Yeah.
Because you did not take the time to grind, to walk through the fire,
build the relationships,
to get your ass whooped, to fall in the dirt, wipe your face off, get back up and move.
Yep. No, I'm 100% agreement with you.
What's up, bro? You're back.
Yeah.
Your bladder's smaller than mine, apparently.
A little bit, man.
Or you may have drank more water than me. I'm going to give you that one.
I'm not used to
more water than me today.
I'm not used to drinking good shit like the rain. Yeah, man. It's just crazy, and it's crazy what motivates us. And I've fortunately, and most people would say unfortunately, I've fortunately been through enough situations in my life that people don't even know about that have motivated me to just really crush the industry and the business
let's talk
world.
About them.
Dude, I'm good.
Tell me.
So, 2 years ago when I was in Shreveport, I just built a house, and I love the house. It took to this day, actually just last week, for me to even go back to the house. A good friend of mine that owns Blueprint Nutrition, he bought it from me, and he's got all these awesome plans to add to it. Dude, I couldn't even see the plans because I would tear up. And I had to sell my house because I was with a company. They were trying to compete in the U.S., and I literally built this company in the U.S.
I remember. I vaguely remember. I don't know the story, but I do remember this.
Yeah, like they were a software company doing SCADA, and they had like just a handful of customers, if any. And I developed an idea to change the way they did SCADA and to implement a different way of their software that just really changed the industry. And they went to almost like 300 clients in the U.S. across the board. And I was promised all these things and stuff. And then one day on vacation of Halloween, on Halloween, I had taken vacation, and I got called into my office by the CEO, which, I was friends with. And when I mean friends with, I mean like we smoked cigars together.
Yeah. And
he said, "I'm going a different direction. I don't need you anymore." Bro, when I say I went into a depression for a month, I just didn't understand. I didn't know why. I would literally get up and help my wife, get ready for work. I'd go back and sleep on the couch. I'd get up, go to the gym, come back, go back to sleep on the couch, wake up for dinner with her, and then go back to sleep. That was my life for a month. I didn't want to do anything. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I didn't want to hang out. And obviously that's very unhealthy.
Right.
Because in that time was a lot, obviously some alcohol. And it finally got to a point to where with her motivation and motivation of my parents, it had to change. Which motivated me to do bigger and better things, which I'm glad I did, and go and help with a automation engineering company with a good friend of mine, Cam Marshall, out in Fort Worth. And it's stuff like that it can make you or break you.
Yeah.
And for a month it broke me. And
what was your energy to get back up?
Man, it was just one of those things where I had to look at it and be like, man, I can't be a bitch.
Yeah.
Really, that was it. I was like, I can't be a bitch. Like, I'm sitting here, I'm doing nothing about this.
That's your inner bitch.
Yeah.
That's your inner bitch, bro.
Yeah. So I told Amanda, I said, look, we're moving to Dallas. because I knew what my income was, and I knew I was not going to find that in Shreveport again. And I was like, we're going to move to DFW.
Yeah.
And we put the house up for sale, and sure enough, we did. But then I got hit again because I found a job in Dallas doing director of business development for a healthcare company. And I found a penthouse in uptown Dallas.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to say the name to them, and because, I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah, even though we hate that terminology, it is what it is. So I found this penthouse, and it was the last one that they had in the building, and so it was a model, had all the furniture and everything. And I asked them, or I gave them a cash offer on all the furniture, because I was like, man, I don't want to move all this shit from my house. And they agreed to it.
And then you started selling everything, right?
Yeah. I sold everything.
Yeah.
So I literally sold everything: couches, tables, beds, everything. The only thing I didn't sell was my clothes.
Yeah.
And so I called the guy the day of I was supposed to move in. I was like, hey, man, I'm on my way. This is the easiest move that I've had. You know, y'all got the furniture ready. And the guy was like, yeah, everything's good. You know, come on. So I drive to Shreveport to Dallas after we had this conversation with my clothes in the back. I'm going by myself because Amanda's still working in Shreveport. And I get there, I sign everything, and the guy was like, oh, by the way, here's your check. Management decided not to sell you the furniture.
Yeah.
This is at the peak of COVID.
Yeah. So
I couldn't get a bed if I opened up an OnlyFans page, okay? This shit is not happening. So I pile up clothes in this apartment that I'm paying $3,200 a month for.
Yeah.
I have nothing.
Shit.
I pile up these clothes on a bedroom floor that I'm sleeping on, and I'm covering myself up with the other half of clothes that I have, because I don't have blankets, I don't have pillows, I don't have shit. And yeah, man, that's the bottom of the barrel. That right there was the best lesson I ever learned, because it told me right there, it don't matter how much you spend on a damn apartment or a house. If you do not feel comfortable or you feel lonely as hell, it'll kill you, like motivation wise.
I mean, it's something that you put your trust in somebody too. You know what I mean? And
exactly.
Didn't go through the formalities because you didn't think you had to. I mean, this shit happens to the best of us.
I had nobody to hang out with. I had my friend Jeremy that was, he lived in Dallas, but the problem was he was in oil and gas, so he's always gone just like I was. Problem was I'm in sales, so I'm not on location. Yeah. So I'm sitting here, I'm working on a bar, typing on a computer with no fucking bar stool. Like, I have nowhere to sit.
You're on makeshift stand-up desk.
Yeah, I'm watching TV on an iPhone, and that's it. Yeah. So, grocery stores aren't open, so I'm eating Chipotle every night, dude. It was by far the worst experience ever, but I gained so much motivation out of that that it was just unreal. And I don't regret that situation. I can tell you the best thing to cuddle with is hoodies, but yeah, man, that was my life for a month before I had to legally fight to get out of that lease. Yeah, because I mean, not only that, it's expensive. Remote, you're remote. Nobody can interact, and you're in Dallas. Dallas is shut down more than here. You couldn't do shit. Everything was closed.
Yeah, I mean, it was for a lot of people too, man. Like, I'm one of those people that, just like you said, like, you try to find the best in those situations, but a lot of people, like, it really fucked them up, man. Yeah. Like, not being able to interact with people. Well, if you feel comfortable talking about this, you come originally when I first met you. You were in the bar industry.
I was.
Those people all lost their jobs.
Yep.
And they had all their eggs in one basket, and they couldn't do anything. So they had so that's a very good, not only. I wouldn't say lesson learned because it sounds fucked up. Like, I appreciate that hustle. Yeah. Hell, I donated to that hustle for quite a few years. But that's something, like, you can't put all your eggs in one basket, man. You just can't. You gotta diversify the portfolio.
No, and you have no idea what it does. And that lifestyle, when I worked in the bar, especially when I helped open.
Can we talk about it?
Yeah, we can talk
about it, dude. So I'll tell you this: I have never managed a bar, but I have managed to drink a lot in bars. I've also managed to have altercations and so what and so on. that used to be a big part of my life when I was in oil and gas and young and running around with plenty of extra money to go spend, you know, and go here and go there. And I ran into you. We didn't really get to know each other back then.
Yeah.
We were two different, you know, people back then. We also are two different people now. But how did you get into that? And you went through, I don't know if you want to get personal, but if you do, like you went through some trials and tribulations in that while you were into that. Do you want to talk about it a little bit?
Oh yeah, we can definitely talk about it. So like the whole joke, you know, just for people that are outside of North Louisiana, there is an amazing bar owner. He's a marketing genius. His name was Tim Huck, and the whole joke was people would come up to a club called Phoenix and be like, "Hey, I know Tim, let me in free."
That's a beautiful establishment.
Yeah, it was a beautiful establishment, and so that was
Tim.
if
you're listening, we love you.
Yeah, and that was the whole hashtag. Hashtag I know Tim Huck. I've known Tim for a very long time.
Yeah.
His wife is my mom, one of my mom's closest friends.
Yeah.
And so, I knew him back in rock and rodeo days and all that stuff. And so I was actually working at Coco Pele's, and he needed, at the time, he just needed a bartender when he was opening up Sandbar. And I very quickly became the bar manager, helping him out. And yeah, definitely a trial and tribulation on that, and on relationships and just on your body. I mean, in Shreveport, Louisiana, bars are open until 6 a.m.
Yeah, man, it's very. I didn't know that was an uncommon thing until I started traveling abroad. It's a very uncommon thing. Man. I would go out in Dallas and everybody's shutting down. I'm like, damn, I'm still ready to throw. What's up?
Exactly.
Like, let's do it.
And I felt like the biggest alcoholic, even though I didn't drink. I was at work, but I'd walk out of Sandbar at 8 a.m. and all these people were driving down the highway and see me, walking out. Yeah. So. That was a very intense time for me because a lot of people don't know this, but I was still in school.
Yeah.
And I was in school in Natchitoches, which was, 45 minutes to an hour away. So literally, this was my lifestyle. I would go to class at 9 a.m. and I'd go to class until probably 3 o'clock, and I would work out, and then I would sleep then, and then I would come in at, around 10 p.m., 9 p.m., 10 p.m. I would drive to Shreveport and be here at 9 to 10 p.m., work all night, and then drive back for a class at 9 a.m.
Yeah.
That was my life. Now, I can tell you, I got judged so bad because I smelled like Jaeger coming into class, just a class, and I didn't drink anything. It was just like, bartending and managing. That was the moment where I knew, like, this shit's for the birds, and I want to do something, and I'm not taking away from any bartender or anything like that. That's a hard grind.
Man. I appreciate that grind.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
I also know what's on the other side of it.
Yeah, but it's I can tell you, it's not something that I want to do I didn't want to do it for the rest of my life. It made me actually appreciate, the corporate world in a sense, and so like when I could get out. And actually, I was forced out, and nobody knows that. So, like, this is how close my relationship was with Tim, because he was a mentor of mine.
Yeah.
When I graduated college, he texted me and said, "You're fired."
Yeah.
You're going to get a job.
He wanted more for you.
Yeah, he wanted more for me.
Not to denounce that. I mean, he just he knew you'd worked hard to do something different.
Exactly, and I have so much respect for him on a business aspect because. Like, if you ask him, he'll tell you. He said one of my biggest accomplishments in my career was growing you into what you've become in the business world, and I'll never take that away from him because he's right. He taught me so much with financials and business management and marketing and such that. Again, it was a blessing meeting him. So
yeah, man, I just
and now that he can't fit through a door because his head's so big,
you'll definitely have to share him this link.
Yeah,
it's going to be interesting.
So,
but no, man, it's I was in a haze, but I remember, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
I remember that those times, and I don't know, man. I feel like everyone. I understand. There's a very interesting crowd of people that probably they're a little bit older than me that were doing the same things 10 years ago in those same establishments that are still doing those today. And when I say those things, I don't mean the hard workers that are hustling. I mean the people that are the patrons. I want, if y'all are listening, I don't even care. I want you to know, like, there's more shit to do with your money and time, bro.
Yeah.
A good time's always appreciated, but it doesn't need to be appreciated every 2 or 3 nights a week.
Oh God, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And dude, because I was in there every now and then. You know what I mean? When I say I was alcoholic, 'cause a lot of times I wasn't drinking. I was just trying to go hang out. You know, just but like
something to do.
Yeah, something to do. But like, there's so much more to do.
Yeah,
there's so much more to do, and I feel like that people need to know that. And not at the end, and look, I appreciate a good time.
Yeah,
you know, but man, doing it all the time, it just wears on you, dude.
Well, as your maturity grows, a definition of a good time changes.
Exactly.
And I told this to the owner of Caleb at Flippin' Coffee. You know, we were having sushi together, and I told him, I said, what you're going to notice is your crowd of people, it's going to decrease, but your conversations are going to change too, and you're going to get more excitement, just like we did. You know, me and you have that same personality, and we get excited about it, even though you didn't want the conversation to go to there. It still gradually went to business.
Yeah, of course, because we share those things in common.
Exactly.
I just didn't want to sit here and talk about business all the time.
I get that, but you get excited about it just like I do, and that's what I told him. I said, you're going to get excited about these conversations business-wise, and you're going to see that your crowds that you're with, they're going to gradually change because you're going to outgrow some of the people that you hang out with.
Yep.
And he had already agreed with me because he had already started seeing it happen.
Well, and that's unfortunate too, because this happened to me. It's happened to all of us. I feel like, but I feel like you look back 5 years ago, you look back 10 years ago, and you're like, those are really good friends of mine, but we just went a different direction.
Yeah.
You know, I have nothing bad to say about them. They were a part of my life.
Yeah, and that's okay. It's okay to have that.
Yeah. I mean, but so many people are hung up dealing with those things. They say like, I can't change because of so and so's judgment upon me.
Yeah.
You know, I have these insecurities of what people think about me because these are my friends and family. Well, at the end of the day, if there's something you want to do, no matter what it is, it's your prerogative, and someone doesn't support you, then look to someone else for support if you need it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think so many of us, you know, stop and do not make that leap forward because we're so worried about what someone thinks that's close to us that quote unquote cares about us.
Oh yeah.
I mean, what's care, man? If you care this is my perspective. Care is your well-being and your happiness. Mm-hmm. If you're happy, I mean, if you're well, alive and well, and you're happy, that's my care for you.
Right.
Anything else you do is your business.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like, man, that shit's so cloudy now, man.
Oh yeah, it's definitely cloudy. There's no doubt in that, because a lot of people are just they're just selfish.
Yeah, and if you're young, if you're younger than 25 years old, and you're worried about what your parents think, and you're not making decisions you want to make for your well-being or for your bettering yourself in whatever field you may be interested in getting in, you need to get over that shit too.
Yeah, you don't do that.
Yeah,
don't do that. I didn't do it, and you know, I tell people all this all the time. I'm a business owner, and I feel that I'm successful, and I have a biology degree, and it means absolutely shit.
I have a business degree, and it means absolutely shit. But I got it. Yeah, but you know, I thought I was in oil and gas. And I thought I needed one because I wanted to climb that corporate ladder. Yeah. So I got it online while I was working full time oil and gas. Yeah. And then got into the business for myself and realized this doesn't mean shit. It just means I sit in a class or sit on, you know, took tests and read, you know. Yep.
Well, and I'm not saying education's not important.
I'm not either, man.
I'm just saying, like, everybody has different avenues.
Well, just
I feel like society does a piss poor job in rushing people into making a decision of what they want to do for the rest of their life.
I agree. You're supposed to figure that out. Fuck that. I didn't figure it out until I was 26 years old.
Oh, I didn't figure it out until it was. I mean, I had businesses and I did them and I enjoyed them, but I still tried to do what I thought society expected me to do because I had, you know, this degree. So I didn't figure it out until I was 26, 27, 28.
Exactly.
And I'm 34, fixing to be 35. So it's still, you know, it's still recent.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think that, you know, like, people think that they need to go to college, they need to get a specific job. I had one of my high school principals on the show, and we talked about that. Yep. It's like, if that's not something you want to do, then okay, find something else. Find an application. Find something you want to do. We have access to so much information now via internet, social media, everything. We can literally reach the world at our fingertips within seconds. Yeah. There's always something out there for someone. Always. Everyone. I mean, for everyone. So, like, if you don't want to go to college and do this specific job, that's fine. You don't have to. You don't even need to go to school.
Just
You
don't be
start
lazy.
your own damn business.
Just don't be lazy. That's
So
all.
just still sit on your ass and expect everyone to do everything for you.
Exactly. Don't be entitled. That's the
Because
word.
here's
Yeah.
oh god, dude, don't get me rolling on that. Holy shit, dude, we'll do a whole nother podcast on entitlement.
Oh hell, we got 2 bottles here. So.
Shit, man. Oh my god. Well, I mean, like self entitlement is, and look, here's another thing that I can sympathize with people who don't know any better. So we have a weird generation coming up right under us that parents do everything for them because they may have not had that opportunity.
Yeah.
It creates self-entitled children.
Yeah.
Those self-entitled children are now the next generation down from millennials, and they also have access to information. So like,
Yep.
there's no. I remember going to the library and having to resource fucking encyclopedias for reports. Remember that shit?
Dewey Decimal.
You remember that shit?
Yeah,
though?
oh, yeah.
But you had to like flip the encyclopedia over, and you need to you had to do a resource page, and you needed to cite this. It had to be written references.
And there were no copy and paste.
No, you couldn't copy paste shit, dude.
Yeah, there was no internet.
There was no plagiarism.com.
No.
There was none of that shit. Nothing. It was all written. But you know what? I appreciate that for the accountability aspect of it.
I can.
So I do understand that there's some hustle involved and people like finding ways around things to achieve things.
Yep.
But when you get to that achievement, it's not going to mean as much as you didn't work to get there.
No.
If you didn't do the nitty gritty stuff.
Yeah, no.
And that's something that, man, that you know, when it comes to the self-entitlement thing is, what are you self-entitled about?
Yeah.
Like, what do you have? Give me your references. Like, what's your resume?
Yeah.
If you're so entitled, tell me what you've been through. I want to hear some crazy shit. Well, I'm not going to be impressed if not. You
Well,
know?
and it's funny that you say that because nowadays education doesn't mean I'm not saying education is not important.
No.
But when you apply for a job, it's experience based.
Is it?
It's like, oh, you don't have. I want 5 to 10 years experience.
But also, here's what I have a problem with, and I think, and I haven't looked for a job in years, so I don't know. But I know that used to be, it had to be bachelor degree required.
Shit, now it's a master's.
Really?
Yes.
Plus experience.
Yes.
Why is that, you think?
Well, I think it's ever going because education is easier and easier to get.
Right.
And like
Well, that makes sense because you can get a master's online now.
$12,000 at LSU.
Yeah.
LSUS.
Yeah.
Yep. And
But you also have to have a bachelor's before you get that master's.
oh yeah, you do. But I think that's why it's changing though. Used to it was, hey, high school degree got you a good job. Now it's bachelor's got you a good job, and then now it's master's. And like I've seen job postings having a master's $60,000 a year, and
insane.
it's only it's only a matter of time before it's like a doctorate. And
I mean, I get it. I just think we're past that now. I think everyone knows. Like, well, no.
Can you imagine? I'm not going to state my opinion on this because DK, with PR would probably she'd probably slap me silly. But can you imagine what it's going to be like if education was ever free?
No. Well, it's going to shut down the universities because that's how they make their money. So like, they
not only, but can you imagine you got a doctorate and you can't get a job?
Right, exactly. They leverage the tuition cost based on whatever's going on.
Yeah.
So like you have, but here's another thing. I'm not like shutting down education. There's specific jobs you have to have this education in. Applied, very applied jobs like
Well, your example
science,
your example of
nursing.
that is trades.
Yeah. Well, and then on the other side, you have nursing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still a trade. I guess it's a hands-on job. An attorney, a doctor, a scientist. Like these things you have to have loads and loads and loads of information implanted in your brain, so you know how to process certain things. But you also still, after you get that degree, have to go apply it for 6 months or something, or a year before you can even actually go into the field to make money doing that. So there's still application.
Yeah, it's just like physical therapy.
Yeah, exactly. Application is always the most important thing.
Yeah.
You can have all the knowledge in the world, but if you don't know how to apply that knowledge, then it means absolutely
But
nothing.
there's a lot of majors that you can't have an application for. Like if you just get a biology degree,
Right.
You can't. You have to
You
like.
can't go be a biologist and say that.
Yeah, let me go do this 40 hours or 180 hours, whatever it is, of observation hours, and then get a job. It's a lot harder. So I fear that day.
Yeah,
if it ever comes.
I do too. I just
Because education is important, but I think the way we treat it is the scary portion.
Well, it's just put on a pedestal now to where people feel like they're not able to achieve.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? And then you have like things like, so I think at the end of the day, it's access to information. The average 20-year-old has more access to information than any other 20-year-old in the history of the world. Exactly. Okay, so then, but does that 20-year-old have worth ethic?
Yeah.
So are you trading access to information for worth ethic?
Yeah.
So I think if you can have both, that's your new form of education, and that's going to put you in the tier of moving forward and doing things and actually making a movement, making a splash in the pond versus just no way to apply anything and then getting an education.
Yeah. The only shot that I'll take at education, and this is reality, and I'll back this up, is the depletion of creativity.
Yeah.
And I have examples of that, so that's why I'll back it up. But like, from high school to middle school to even elementary, when they implemented the Common Core program.
Yeah.
And it's not just Common Core. It's just, even regular programs. I had a problem with this. When you do a math problem, you teach kids creativity is the most important thing that you need to deal with, right? But
that's what they used to teach when we were kids. I don't know what they teach now.
Exactly.
Classroom.
But like even back then, it was still they say that, but they didn't necessarily practice it, and it's not a shot at teachers because teachers still they're given the task at hand. They do it. Yes, this is how teachers are even told, hey, this is how you need to teach this. Yeah. This is what you need to do. So you still take a little bit of creativity away from teachers. But when you go to a student and you say, figure out this math problem, and even if they figure it out and they don't do it the same process that your school pushes, whether it be Common Core or whatever it is,
it's wrong.
It's wrong.
Isn't that fucked up?
Yeah,
when we went to school, the answer was the answer.
Yeah, it's not that way anymore.
Someone was saying the other day, it's like, it takes me a whole fucking sheet of paper to solve this one problem that I could do in 2 lines.
Exactly, but you do it in 2 lines, it's wrong.
What's up with that?
So
they're controlling the process.
But you box in the creativity of somebody.
Right. Yeah, because some of us, remember, it's just like the ones that I was a math whiz, other things I wasn't great at. I would do a lot of shit in my head. They're like, you got to show your work. I'm like, okay, I get it.
Why?
But I don't need to.
But
I have
why?
the answer. But I guess because they've maybe a fear of that was a guideline, or they thought you may have cheated. It's just one of those things.
Well, shit, we're fixing to open up a can of worms. Because
shit.
Here's the thing. So when you do that, though, and I don't know what they do now, but I know back then, when somebody would come up with an answer for any problem, any issue, word problem, math, English, or whatever, and then they came up and said, this is my answer, and they said, you can't show your work, that's wrong, then they categorize that person as being slow or a failure.
Yeah.
So then you kill that creativity and you kill that motivation in like a 12-year-old.
I agree.
So imagine that.
Yeah, I agree. It's just, I get it, and it is fucked up. We try to create a standard so that we can groom people to get ready to be consumer-centric and operate and thrive in the economy and all build us up as a society. But there's not a one-size-fits-all application, okay? So that's where we have to realize, okay, things need to change.
Oh, yeah.
I just think that we need more institutes. We need more applied application, like applied sciences and all these things that we need these for people to go to. They don't have to go to a one-size-fits-all thing and say, okay, if you don't fall into this category, you don't mean shit to us and you can't operate in society.
Oh, exactly. But the problem is education, I feel like, has not followed society's guidelines.
Well, no.
Because
they roll with the punches.
Well, yeah, because the thing is like education has not really, I don't think education has caught up with society today.
Agree. I agree. They're behind times.
Yeah.
They're behind. It's an archaic way of thinking and operating that does not work anymore.
Yeah, and I'm going to stir the pot.
Go for it.
So the reason I say that is I still have seen people in books that have taught that Christopher Columbus was a good person.
Yeah.
If you know, if you know correct history,
he still has a day.
Yeah, he was arrested when he went back.
Yeah.
For war crimes.
Yeah.
So education definitely needs to catch up for that, but also you don't need to criticize a child for. I think is an act of genius that can come up with the answer without even showing its work.
I agree. I completely agree. I mean, you have to realize that there are people, there are levels to this shit, bro.
Yeah.
There are levels to this shit.
Yeah. Some
people are here, some people are here. How do they cohesively blend and work together?
Yeah.
Let's make it work.
Yeah.
If not, do we need to create something over here for these people that are they're top of the food chain and operate differently, and not saying they're any better, they just operate differently.
So, and I have an example of that. So one of my closest best friends, I'm not going to say their name because they might be embarrassed of this. When they were in high school and middle school and everything, they were deemed slow.
Okay.
And they were put in special classes.
Okay.
This person learned how to rebuild a computer and software in less than 2 months.
Yeah.
And can rebuild cars and has a very successful business rebuilding other stuff, and also does sales for another company that he's a top salesman. Mm-hmm. And so when he told me, like, you know, when I knew him back then and knowing him now, it's like, man, you weren't slow. You were ahead of the game. You're ahead of the curve.
Well,
you were just judged.
You were slow compared to their standards.
Yeah, which their standards don't make it right.
What are their standards? I mean,
exactly.
Their standards are everyone needs to be in this box, and it just does not work anymore.
No.
You know,
well, it didn't work back then.
No, it didn't. But there wasn't enough information or people talking about it to realize it. Mm-hmm. Like there had been 10 years past before they realized it didn't work.
Yeah.
Now we have so much access to everything, we know it doesn't work immediately.
Yeah.
But what's being done about that? I have no idea. I'm not trying to say I'm an advocate for a new education system here because I'm not educated enough. But I do know, and I agree that the shit's broken. And it shouldn't cost $40,000 fucking to go to school.
No,
a year.
No. Well, that actually starts some shit up because people were paying all that kind of money during COVID to go to Harvard, but they were having the same Zoom classes as somebody that was going to a community college.
Exactly.
So that actually
and that's another thing. Those standards are set by that institution.
Yeah.
And there's people that man, I don't one day somebody may slap my hand for this shit, but it feeds down to people that actually benefit from those things, and so they're constantly sending people there, just like college football. Prime example.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
They have amazing players, but if they don't fit the formality, then they just go to this low tier school that actually probably has good talent, but they're not put on the pedestal like here with this top tier school.
Well, and it's also colleges and universities are a business too, so it's supply and demand as well. So
of course, but if you're and that's where it becomes very gray. Yeah, it becomes very gray because like, okay, what are we doing here? Are we we're supplying the new society's workforce and economy here. Yeah, we're literally molding them, but what about all this other side of society over here that is still going to operate and create money, like create revenue and grow the economy, just like your software developer that's in the basement that's creating these apps that people are using that are making billions of dollars.
Oh yeah, the person that created Angry Birds was 13.
Exactly.
So
like there's room for that. That's still commerce. Mm-hmm. So we got to find those things, man. But dude, look, we're I think this may be a record-breaking show. I mean, why not? We started off with the first one. Might as well go for the next record, man.
Either go big, yeah.
Well, look, dude, I enjoyed it today. I think I had fun. I hope somebody gets something out of this.
I do too. And just so because I never really said the name, if you don't mind, if you are
go for it, plug away.
Yeah, if you're a startup company or you're looking to get away from your 9 to 5 and you need advice or education or just motivation to start your own business, I do have a podcast called The Hustle with Will Harris, and we take emails, we take Instagram messages and everything, and we love to help out in your success, and then listen in, and I hope it educates you to what you need. So
hell yeah, bro.
And I definitely want to thank Sin Vodka for the bottle.
It was good.
Yeah, it was good. It's halfway gone, so
all right, dude. Cheers.
Cheers, man. I appreciate you having me on the show. I look forward to doing it again.
Hell yeah, bro. Thanks. Everyone, please subscribe to the podcast.